It's Passenger Seat Radio. What is it, the 7th? It is Monday, the 7th of April, and you are on my 13-mile commute home. Welcome to the show. I wasn't going to start the show until I got out of the parking garage, but then I thought, let's just get it going. And, of course, it was a pain in the ass to get out. Now, you'll notice I actually tightened the screw down on my stupid phone holder, so there should be no nonsense of me having to reach up and grab the damn phone every 2 seconds. So hopefully that will be helpful. Now, the bad part is I left my notes on my desk at work. So I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about. But I think I can remember a handful of them. That'll be funny in a minute, handful of them. So we'll have plenty to talk about on the way home. So how's everybody doing? Hey now, welcome to the show. All right, hang on, let me get myself out of the garage here. Okay, that's enough distractions. All right. So I went to an ortho doctor last week regarding my hand, and I don't think I've been discussing my hand very much here on the show. You guys know I like to share my life's journeys. So I got a little something going on with my hand. It started off about 8 or 9 months ago. I noticed a little bump forming on the bottom, in the middle of my palm. And it was like, okay, what the hell is that? Well, then it started to get a little bit bigger. And then it started to kind of start growing. And it started growing up. It went up to the right and then kind of stopped and then went up to the left. Almost like it's trying to fill in available space. So, being the armchair WebMD guy that I am, good afternoon. I looked on the internet, of course, and what it appeared to me, based on what I found, is something called a ganglion cyst, right? So that's pretty simple, right? I've seen Dr. Pimple Popper. They make a little incision. They drain the mass that's in there. Then they cut it out. They cut the casing, like a hot dog case. They cut that out, and then they stitch you up. So that's what I thought it was. So I finally got around to having my physical a few weeks back. I got referrals out the ass to go and get stuff looked at, and my hand was one of them. So finally, I got an appointment with the ortho, went in there, and you know what? Fuck off, good-looking doctors. You know what? God shouldn't give with both fucking hands. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm a heterosexual dude, and I wanted to take the doctor out. But yeah, so he's like, let me take a look, and he starts palpating it and shit, and he's like, well, do you know what this is? Did anybody tell you what this is? And I said, well, ganglion cyst? And he's like, no, it's something else. It is basically what they call Viking hand, and I can't pronounce the fucking thing. It's a contracture. It has to do with the fascia underneath the skin, because it's so closely connected to the muscles and nerves and shit underneath your hand. It is one of those things that they won't do anything about. And if you want to see it, I'll see if I can show it to you while I'm on a red light here. So here's where the bump started. It started working its way up here. It's working its way up there. So it's right here. And so why they call it Viking hand is eventually this material, or whatever these cords are called, cords, will eventually could work their way up, and they'll start pulling. They'll start pulling on these two fingers. So you end up having like a perpetual claw. So right now it's fine. My hands are nice and straight. I can make a flat hand. So as long as my hands are flat and it's not incurring any sort of quality of life, they won't do anything. But what can they do, right? So I know you're curious. So what's the cure? What's the solution? How do you fix this Viking claw or Viking hand? Well, you don't. That's the bottom line. There is no cure for Viking hand. Now, there's a few things they can do. I know you guys are paying me extra so that I can bring all this interesting medical information back for you. What they can do is they can shoot this collagen neutralizer into those areas, and that can break down some of the hardened core or cord that is causing the problem. Hey now, what's up, Flair? So they can shoot that up, and that can relieve the pressure, but it won't fix it. The other thing they can do is essentially stab it with 1,000 needles over and over and over again. Just stab, 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 and that can break up the fibers enough to where it can release the fingers. And of course, last but not least is surgery. And I thought, okay, that's not too bad if all they have to do is kind of reach in there and cut those cords and just slide them out of there. No. Never that easy. Because of the way that the skin, it's really interesting. I saw a great YouTube video on it. I'll post it if anybody gives a shit. But the way that your skin works, this skin's really loose, but on your hand, your skin's not loose at all. It has to do with the grip, evolutionary grips, blah, 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 whatever. So the this lumped fascia or whatever it's called, that stuff is it's so intertwined into the nerves and the blood vessels and everything. They really don't want to operate on you. They really don't. But they will if there's a quality of life issue. But when they get in there, panic attacks, low T. I've been suffering a lot of panic attacks. Actually, no. So anyway, that's what's going on with my hand. I don't really have anything else. We can talk about Flair's thing. No, panic, at least not to my knowledge. Low testosterone has a number of not so great things, but panic attacks is not one of them. Now, you could extrapolate based on what low T does cause, right? So you could look at lower muscular build, right? And this all has to do with testosterone versus estrogen, blah, blah, blah. You have low testosterone, so you end up having heightened estrogen. That can lower muscle mass, but and of course it can make you feel like not doing a goddamn thing ever, like barely getting out of bed in the morning. Make you not want to take the trash out or walk the dogs when your wife wants you to. I swear my urologist used that over and over again. But no, there's no ties in my numerous amounts of research that would tie a panic attacks to low T. But if you do suspect you have low T, I'm going to tell you right now, all jokes aside, get that shit tested. It will cost you probably $35 at one of those LabQuest places. Don't buy that shit you find on fucking Instagram. Go to a Quest Lab or something, and for $35, they'll test your testosterone. And you'll know. Once you have the number and you know you're low, then you put the feelers out. Go talk to the urologist, right? Talk to all the people that you should be talking to. But get the test, man. I mean, I'm telling you, nobody should live with low T. So, anyway, fasting, no fasting. Fasting is usually for lipids and glucose, things like that. No, you shouldn't have to fast for a testosterone sample. And the other thing you want to get checked, because they may or may not ask you to, or you may not know, what you're looking for is a T serum. You want a T serum, and you want hematocrit. You want to know what your hematocrit is now. And the reason I say that is because, listen, I had panic attacks for a brief period of time. It had to do with medication that I had gotten on or something. I can't remember the specifics, but I know panic attacks are ridiculous. My wife suffers from them too. I feel for you, buddy. It's not pleasant. But if you do go get your T tested, get the hematocrit. What that is sort of like your blood's viscosity level, sort of like oil viscosity, lower viscosity, thinner oil. And if your hematocrit is normal, ish, you can expect that any sort of testosterone replacement therapy is going to cause it to go up. So if you have high hematocrit now, or high levels of thickness of your blood, you're definitely going to have some problems getting testosterone replacement therapy, because that can cause strokes and clots and all this other shit. So you don't want to mess around with your hematocrit going too high. Essentially, the way you lower your hematocrit is to give blood. And when I was on testosterone and my hematocrit creeped up, the doctor basically said you're going to have to give blood every 6 weeks if you want to keep taking testosterone. So just something to think about. But yeah, I urge anybody to get their testosterone checked. Definitely. Hey, Javier, I saw you come in. You missed me talking about my Viking hand. But you can, listen later. So yeah, that was interesting. I did go to I finally did my follow with my cardiologist. And because for those of you who are new to the show, I suffer from atrial fibrillation, which is basically an irregular heartbeat that can cause pooling of blood at the bottom of your heart, which of course can then cause clots and brain aneurysms and all that other silly shit. I am not an acute case, but it does happen. So essentially I'm on a medication to control my heart rate, and I'm also on a blood thinner. In case I do have the AFib, then the blood thinner sort of protects me against the clotting and the, strokes and all that other good stuff. So this was what my follow-up was for, to check in. Now, during the 8 months since I had my last checkup with the cardiologist, I had 2 bouts of AFib. Both of them were at the same time of day. Now, this is weird shit. I can't believe for a second that the fact that they happened about the same time of the day, for about the same length of time, and at the same amount of duress. So essentially, what ends up happening is your heart will start beating irregularly, which, by the way, if you've never had that happen, it will freak you the fuck out. I promise you, it will freak you out. Now, here's something interesting, not to get sidelined, but a lot of people have AFib and they don't even know it. Me, I can tell. I mean, so you could have AFib and not know. No, dude, I know. I can tell when my heart's beating irregularly. It makes me feel funky as fuck. So essentially what happens is you can't restore sinus rhythm by itself. So you get a fast, irregular beat. And there are people that have bouts of AFib that last days. Fuck that. I can't even imagine for a second that feeling like that for days on end. Now, you're not supposed to, right? If you reach, if you're greater than 120 beats per minute for more than 2 hours, you're supposed to go to the ER. That's when they inject that shit into your stomach and leave you bruised and battered for the next 6 weeks. But yeah, so I had 2 bouts, 4 hours apiece, at the same time of day, and they both ended about the same time. I have no fucking clue what that's about. Now, he says, so the cardiologist says, we should probably think about the ablation. He's like, we don't want to wait too long because there can be damage every time you have a bout of AFib. So he's like, we should probably, if it comes again, we should probably talk about the ablation. Now, ablation scares the living shit out of me, and it probably should. Essentially, they send something up into your heart, actually into the heart, and they locate the location. What causes AFib is an electrical short in the membranes in the heart. So what happens is that short happens, and that's when your heart starts beating irregularly. So what they do is they send this little swizzle stick up there, and they find the location where it is. I have no clue how they find it. That's something I'm interested in. But once they find the location, they burn or freeze to bust that link, but to bust that electrical link that's causing you to AFib. It terrifies the shit out of me to think that I might have to do that. but it's like it's not guaranteed to last forever. But they say, my mother had it. She's like, it's the greatest thing that she ever did. Hers has lasted, hers is expected to last 10 or 15 years. So, okay, maybe that is the right answer. But getting back to the story here, listen, the last few months after being dragged back into work and the low testosterone, I had to get off my testosterone because of my hematocrit, blah, blah, blah. I have not been kind to my body for the last 4 or 5 months, and I've ballooned up. Thank you so much for not mentioning it. But yeah, I've put on a shitload of weight. And along with weight, your weight will cause your testosterone to go down, your estrogen to go up, and all this other bad shit, right? So essentially, the cardiologist sort of read me the riot act and said, you need to fucking lose weight. And he says, I'm gonna put you on intermittent fasting. I said, dude, tried it, didn't work. He's like, no. I don't know what the hell you did before, but I'm gonna tell you what to do. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. He said, you're gonna eat twice a day. You're gonna eat at noon and 6 o'clock at night. You get 30 minutes, you can eat as much as you want. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But wait, it has to be pure protein, berries, or vegetables. That's it. That's all you get to eat. Now you can eat as much of that as you want during that 30-minute period, but that's it. You can eat nothing made with flour. No rice, no potatoes, nothing made with flour. And he says, if you really want to go the full meal deal, he said, take 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar 15 minutes before. So at 11:45 and at 5:45, take those 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. He's like, if you really want to be dedicated, and he's like, you can have whatever protein you want as long as it's pure protein. We're talking chicken, beef, turkey, fish, eggs, beans. Did I say beans already? Yeah, so, and then, of course, I can have all the vegetables I want, and then I can have all the berries that I want. So strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, all of those are on the menu. So that's what I have been doing for a week and a half at this point. Now, here's the fun part. So essentially what this is it's a intermittent fasting, keto, slightly modified diet. That's what it ends up being, right? And he said the guy in the next room, he was only mimicking because the guy had already come and gone. The guy in the next room spent 3 months on this particular regimen to the letter. 3 months, dropped 25 pounds, just like that. 3 months, 25 pounds. Now, they say 2 pounds a week is what you can logically lose if you are so inclined to do so. So I'm like, okay, 3 months, huh? I think I could live on that kind of a diet for 3 months. Maybe not indefinitely, and maybe with a cheat meal every now and then. But yeah, let's try it out. Let's give the guy the benefit of the doubt and do exactly what he says. Exactly, to the letter. I gotta tell you, since I started, I dropped 12 pounds. 12 pounds in a week and a half. That's fucking nuts, right? That is just batshit crazy. I know at some point it'll plateau and I'll start losing slower, blah, 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 but wow, holy shit. So that's what my eating cycle has been. It's been protein, it's been veggies, right? Salad, nice dark green romaine if I can. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And oh, by the way, apple cider vinegar, fuck that shit. Get the gummies. You can order gummies from Amazon. Take 2 of them, essentially 2 tablespoons. And listen, they don't taste tasty. I mean, they're not like Flintstones fucking vitamins, right? No. You're gonna put them in your mouth. And you're gonna go, and you're gonna swallow them, and you're gonna be done. But I'll tell you what, apple cider vinegar, holy shit, that's nasty. It is nasty. I was dissolving it in water. I tried it heavily iced. I tried it warm, thinking apple cider. No. Fuck that. Get the gummies. If you're going to indulge in apple cider vinegar, get the fucking gummies. You will thank me later. All right, so something else I know I had on my list, since the traffic's a little bit slow here today. So I'm watching the new Kevin Bacon show that's on Amazon called The Bondsman. And okay, so it's not extraordinary. It's not, oh my God, you all fucking have to go out and see this. But it's good. Let me see. So let's say I'm watching, so of all the things that I'm watching, Reacher's over for the season. Still watching Dark Winds, Dr. Odyssey, which may not make a second season, which is too bad. It's apparently a very expensive show to make, which is too fucking bad because I really enjoy that show. But that might not get renewed. I would say Bondsman is probably at the bottom of the list if I were to say what all I'm watching and where do I think that is. But let me entice you a little bit. I'm not going to give away any spoilers because the goddamn show summary will tell you pretty much everything you need to know there. But the idea here is Kevin Bacon, so this all takes place in Georgia. So you got everybody with the thick accents, and Jesus and Sweet Tea and the Piggly Wiggly. So some people that might annoy the shit out of it. It took me a while to kind of gloss over it, but I lived in the South. So once I got past my irritability stage with it, I was fine. So essentially, Kevin Bacon is a bail bondsman, right? So he runs around trying to catch bail skip traces, and bring him back in, and then he gets a bounty, right? So it's a bounty hunter. Well, Kevin Bacon is out hunting a bounty on some dude, and they get the drop on him, and they kill him. I was going to say, that's a fucking short show. He's dead in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, right? Woo! Of course, they stash his body, but somehow he comes back to life. And I don't want to spoil some of the fun about him coming back to life, but suffice to say, he comes back to life. He gets this gruesome looking tattoo or something on his arm, and essentially, long story short, without trying to give away too much stuff, for a past misdeed, which I don't know yet, he was slated to go to hell when he died. So when he died, the devil decided that he needed his services on earth, so he is now a bail bondsman for the devil. Satan's skip trace guy. And the skip traces are demons that have escaped from hell. And so now Kevin Bacon's got to hunt him down, kill him, bring him to justice, so to speak, for the devil. It's a little bit, I don't know. The concept of it, it's not like we haven't heard this before, seen this before. But listen, it's Kevin Bacon. You love him or you hate him, probably. I love Kevin Bacon. I could watch him in just about anything. And his mother, who was a bail bondsman before him, family business, right? So the mom was doing bail bondsman before he knew, what did she say? Before you knew your ass from a hole in the ground. And you know what's funny? The chick that plays his mom is that really nasty, ugly broad that fell under the bus on Speed. Remember the chick that tried to escape from the bus on Speed, and then Dennis Hopper blew up the entrance, and she fell under the bus and got rolled over? It's her. And she's, if you want to call like a character actor, you see her like all the time doing parts. For those of you who are 6 Feet Under fans, the broad that gets hit by the bus because she thinks the rapture is happening because helium-filled sex toys were flying through the air, that's the same one. Her name eludes me. The actress's name eludes me. You look at her and go, oh, fuck, I know her. And I mean, there's more to the show than him hunting demons, right? I mean, there's a whole interpersonal shit. His whole life's a fucking mess. Listen, they're 30-minute episodes, okay? In and out. Watch the first one. You'll probably have to watch the second one too, because the first one sort of ends before you get any answers. But it's interesting. The execution is more interesting than maybe the premise. So yeah, if you're interested, it's called The Bondsman, Kevin Bacon. It's on Amazon or wherever you pick up your TV shows. And yeah, so far I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in. There's 8 right now. I think there's a 10 for the season. And I'm in. And again, you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about a long commitment here. 30 minutes goes by like that. I mean, just bang. You're like, fuck. Hope to God there's another one. It's like, oh yeah, okay, there's another one. That sort of thing. So, yeah, The Bondsman. I guess we should talk about the Switch too. I've been asked by a few people, what are my opinions, or am I going to get one, blah, blah, blah. Where do I sit on the whole Switch 2 thing? And I think, it's really funny. The Switch 2 is what everybody has been begging for, right? They want it's not current gen power, but they want an above average powered system that can play modern titles like Elden Ring and shit like that, right? They want a Switch that's basically as powerful as a PC, but costs the same as a Switch. That's what people really want. It's the same people that come in to Reddit and ask for, if a Steam Deck can replace their desktop. They really want the Steam Deck, but they need justification. It can't just be a game system. No. I got to be able to do my taxes. I got to be able to, fucking run my 3D printer. I got to be able to do all this shit on the Steam Deck, or I can't justify buying it. Well, there it is. So the Switch 2, from a hardware perspective, outside of a couple of the fuck are you thinking, right? Like the metallic Joy-Cons. I don't know. I'm just assuming you all know what the fuck's going on, but the idea is bigger, better, faster, right? And the Joy-Cons, which I didn't realize there was a problem using Joy-Cons with the sliding, grids on the side. I didn't realize that there was a problem with that. But they decided to take that out and make them magnetically stick to the side. Magnets computer. What the fuck? Who cares? But the weird, creepy part of it is the connector, right? So they replaced the 2 top buttons. Well, when you hold the Joy-Con sideways, what is that, Z1 and Z2, something like that? They replaced those with giant metal buttons. Those are what actually get stuck to the magnet on the inside. So that's how that works. But the connector, the actual like ribbon pin connector, juts out of the trench on the side of the Switch. And it's like this wide. It's like this big. And it should be impossible with the way that the Joy-Cons click in there to fucking break that. But I'm telling you, we're going to hear about this. About people throwing the Wiimotes into the TVs? This is going to be the Switch 2 version of that, because people can't not fuck with stuff. My 5-year-old took apart the Joy-Cons on my Switch 2 and broke the little tab. Can you think Nintendo will fix it for me? Yeah, no, they're gonna fucking charge you $100, pal, just like everybody else. So I don't know what they were thinking about with that. No Hall effect joysticks, right? Which is dumb as fuck. I mean, everything should be Hall effect at this point. There should be, I should never have to hear about fucking joystick drift ever again. But say la vie, right? But everything else hardware-wise, in terms of specs and in terms of the screen size and the resolution, blah blah, that all looks great. I mean, but then when you start going into the software side of things, that's where you start looking at it going, what the fuck were they thinking? And that's been like the watchword, the call-out phrase of a lot of people on the internet is, what the fuck were they thinking? And most of it to be fair, most of it has to do with price, because the Switch 2 is $449. $449. And if you want to pay an extra Finsky, then you can get the new Mario Kart with it for $50. And you're thinking, that's no fucking deal. It is a deal because they decided that if you want Mario Kart without buying it in the bundle, you're going to pay $80. $80 for Mario Kart. I know. Fall over dead, right? So, but it's an open world Mario Kart. It's Forza Kart, for lack of a better term. So now you understand why people are saying, what the fuck are they thinking? Because let's be honest, what has been Nintendo's sort of target market? Nintendo's target market has always been lower price, easier adoption, less impressive hardware specs, but we're going to give you the quality Nintendo first-party shit at a reasonable price. Because we know if you're a house with 4 fucking kids and everybody has to have a new fucking handheld for Christmas, you're going to need 4 copies of Mario Kart, 4 copies of whatever, and you're going to need the handheld, and you're going to need this, and this, right? Well, there ain't no household that's buying 4 Switch 2s for Christmas this year. You're talking right in the $2,000? $2,000 for Christmas? For 4 kids? Get the fuck out of here, right? And then you've got the games. Remember, it used to be you could save up, your paper route money and buy a game? Jesus Christ, $80. And then on top of everything else, I mean, this shit just goes on and on. I mean, when you look at the hardware as is, you go, yeah, that's cool, that looks pretty good. Even the price isn't ridiculous, because you're getting basically like a PS4 Pro-ish handheld. Okay. As Javier here says, it's the games that really bother him in terms of the pricing. And I get it. Now, if these were physical copies that you could own, like the old days, listen, I'm willing to pay more to own, right? 100%. I don't have a problem with that at all. If you say it's digital for $40, if I want to buy a cartridge, it's $50, I buy that. I get that. I am paying you to ship something, to have something sit on a display shelf, to pay the fucking retailer something. I'm all for that. I'm okay paying more for physical if I actually own the motherfucker. But now they're talking about, it's just like when you buy a PC game and there's a Steam code in it, right? You're not owning shit. It used to be you could buy a disc and you'd be able to rent, sell, trade. That's what they're going to suggest that you can do. But Nintendo always has some fucking hokey pokey system. Anything, you want to be online, route it through your cell phone. What? I mean, that's the kind of hokey pokey shit that Nintendo's known for. And now they're doing this weird thing with these digital cartridges. It's a complete clusterfuck. I mean, it really is. Right even down to their marketing, where it's very easy to confuse a Switch 2 box with a Switch box. Imagine poor Timmy when he asked Grandma for a Switch 2, and he unwraps the shit on Christmas morning, and it's a fucking Switch 1. I mean, I believe that will happen based on that. So there's a lot of things that I find like, what the fuck are they thinking? But really, what they're giving out, what they're doing, is what the bitches have been crying and whining about since the fucking Game Boy. We want top tier hardware running Nintendo first party games. We don't want to play on shittier hardware, right? That's how they justify piracy. I'd play Mario Kart on the Switch, but I can play it at 4x resolution on my PC. Can't you just make it for the PC? No, you're not going to get on the PC, so shut the fuck up. But now what they're doing is they're taking the alternative approach. No cool gimmicks this time, right? No cool gimmicks. This time they're gonna give the people what they want: fucking numbers and firepower. Oh, and then of course the third parties are going, finally, you got some fucking hardware that I can work with here. Now I'll port your Elden Rings, I'll port this, I'll port that. Okay, and that's what the people say they want. But then you slap a $500 price tag on it. It's like, can you drop the price? No, you assholes. This is what it costs to have that kind of hardware. Go talk to the Steam Deck people. They just paid $500 for their Steam Deck. Go talk to the fucking ROG Ally fuckers that are paying $800 for a handheld. I can't afford that to play Mario Kart. Listen, last time I checked, video games were not food, water, or shelter, asshole. If you can't afford the ticket, buy a fucking Steam Deck, dude. I'm telling you. Listen, we don't know the full specs, right? We have not seen Steam Deck against Switch 2 yet. Somebody will do it. We'll put the full breakdown, and then we'll get all the numbers out, and it'll turn out that they're close, but the Steam Deck still has a little more power than the Switch 2. We'll figure that out, but whatever. So anyway, that's where I lean on that. I'm about ready to hit my Wi-Fi spot, so I don't want to cut off. So that's it. This is Shane R. Monroe, Passenger Seat Radio, saying we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.